less than 2% of federal program spending.
On March 29th, Stephen Harper's Conservative Party made it official. Eligibility for old age security will be raised from 65 to 67. The time period stated was 2023 to 2029. Had the Conservatives misled Canadians during the last election campaign when they said they wouldn't touch pensions? Flaherty answered, "While the Canada Pension Plan is a pension, old age security is a government program, therefore not a pension."
Changes were made years ago to the Canada Pension Plan to ensure it would be sustainable. As a result, it is sustainable. It is sound and fully funded. Now, Mr. Speaker, today it is clear we must take action to ensure the sustainability of the Old Age Security Program, which is the largest spending program of the federal government. The Old Age Security Program was designed for a much different demographic future than Canada faces today. In the 1970s, there were 7 workers for every 1 person over the age of 65. In 20 years, there will only be 2. In 1970, life expectancy was age 69 for men and 76 for women. Today, it is 79 for men and 83 for women. At the same time, Canada's birth rate is falling. The result is that Canadians are living longer and healthier, but there are fewer workers to take their place when they retire. Canada has changed. Old age security must change with it to serve the purpose it was intended to serve. We will make gradual adjustments to the Old Age Security Program to ensure the next generation can count on it. These adjustments will not affect current recipients or those close to retirement. Starting in 2023 and ending in 2029, we will gradually increase the age of eligibility from age 65 to 67. This gradual approach will enable younger Canadians to plan ahead with confidence. Mr. Speaker, we will also make the program more flexible for those approaching retirement. As of July 1st, 2013, Canadians who prefer to keep working will be given the option to defer the start of benefits. This voluntary option will enable them to receive...
Toronto Liberal Judy Sgro asked about the pension issue immediately after Flaherty's announcement.
Sad day for Canadians who joined in a country that had a social programs that benefited people, that they could plan to retire, start a second career. Now they're going to turn around and they're going to have to work an extra 2 years. I know the Minister of Finance has a very cushy job, but he clearly is out of touch with Canadians. He thinks all Canadians have that same kind of cushy job, but many of them can't get beyond the 67 years, no matter if it's today or tomorrow. You have money for jets, you have money for jails, but when it comes to really protecting people, you are attacking the most vulnerable in society. Shame on you.
I just remind the honourable member to address her comments to the chair and not directly at her colleagues. The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I appreciate the question from the member of the third party, the Liberal Party, that has the nerve to purport to care about health care and education and social services. It was in 1995 that the Liberal Party brought forth a budget in this House that cut transfers for health care, for education, for social services to the provinces and territories. Shame is right. Shame it was. And the consequences were felt by Canadians coast to coast to coast.
New NDP leader Thomas Mulcair spoke to Evan Sullivan of the CBC right after the budget announcements.
Let's look at what Stephen Harper said last June 7th in the House, word for word. We will not cut pensions, verbatim. We will not cut transfers to the provinces for major programs such as healthcare. That's word for word what he said last June. So we can see that he's not a man of his word. that the Conservatives are following a policy that's already leaving future generations with a massive ecological, economic and social debt that they're never going to be able to absorb. Now we're telling them they're going to have to work 2 years longer. They're already borrowing $35,000 on average to get a bachelor's degree. When are they going to participate in the economy? When will that generation be able to buy a house? That whole generation is going to be the first in safety.
What about that? Let's talk about old age security. Savings from old age security changes amount to $10 billion. They say by 2030, seniors will no longer be able to apply to the guaranteed income supplement because they're automatically enrolled in it, so they don't have to do that. And by the way, public servants joined the federal public service in 2013 will now retire by the age of 65 rather than 60. So those are some key areas you've talked about before. What's your criticism of that?
Well, in a country that's as rich as Canada, it's totally unacceptable that we still have hundreds of thousands of seniors living below the poverty line. They're not addressing that. There is a guaranteed income supplement that exists for the poorest, and that should have been boosted. That overall was about $700 million. It's not something that would have cost a great deal. Again, it's a question of choices and priorities. The Conservatives would prefer to continue massive transfers towards certain sectors that are already very profitable. The areas like manufacturing that needed the help, they're not making profits. The reduction in taxes doesn't give them anything. They're not paying taxes.
Do you agree that public servants should pay more in pensions under this new 50-50 formula?
I think that this is typical of the Conservatives. It's always a race to the bottom. It's a zero-sum game. We should be fighting for all Canadians, not just people in the public service, all Canadians to have access, and this is something that the NDP does propose, to a guaranteed benefit pension that they can buy and that would be transportable from one job to the next. It's not a very complicated thing to put in place.
All right, so you don't support the changes to OAS?
It's an abysmal decision.
Out of interest, and I know and the Liberals have also said it affects the poor seniors, but with the fact that people are living longer, there's a demographic bulge. Now, we've got an aging population. They always point out 4 workers to support every retiree. Now, we will soon be 2 workers. Why not just push the age to 67?
Every objective analysis that's been done, whether it's by the Parliamentary Budget Officer or by the OECD, has said that our system is absolutely sustainable. It's a classic straw man that the Conservatives have set up so that they can knock it down. It's a sop to their base. It's an incredible error. People have paid. They're due for retirement. And by the way, if they work 2 years more, you're just taking 2 years more to start creating new jobs for young people coming on the market, the same ones who are going to be bearing the brunt of all the debt that we're leaving. Gen Xers should be up in arms over this budget.